Hey, it's Mike. Thanks for tuning back in. Today's Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day. I hope you guys are doing whatever it is you are doing with family and having a good time. I, last week, watched the short that Geoff Wilson put out. I don't know which channel, Sports Card Investor maybe. And in that short, he traded a bunch of vintage and modern and ultra modern for a, what he says is $130,000 Steph Curry patch auto, and I could not believe it. It's vintage, it's iconic vintage. There were several 1933 Goudey Ruths in there. There was a Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle Bowman rookie, 1951. There's a bunch of modern. I don't know much about those cards except that they're pretty big deals apparently, and those didn't bother me. And as I watched it, I said, I can't believe this guy is trading this iconic vintage for this card. I finished watching it. I texted it to a few friends, vintage friends, and said, can you guys believe this? And they had the similar reaction. Could not believe that somebody would trade iconic vintage for a modern card. Now, Steph Curry is one of my favorite basketball players of all time. I love Steph Curry. He changed the game, something that most players can't say. It's pretty rare to have a player who literally changed the game, and he's fun and exciting and he's amazing. Probably a top 5 player of all time for me. 4 championships, an insane amount of 3-pointers, got kids excited about the game, got people excited about the game. But I watched that video and I said, how can you make this trade? What an idiot. And then last night I saw that John Mangini had also shared it, saying what an idiot. And I decided to hate watch it again because it's a short, it's less than a minute long. And as I watched it, I realized, why do I care? First of all, look at his face. Look at this guy's face after he made that trade. He wanted that card. He loved that card. And the trade made him happy. And so we have applied value to it, to the vintage cards. And we value vintage cards more than modern. And I still believe, that those vintage cards will be worth more in 10, 20, 30 years than his Steph Curry patch auto card. And by the way, the patch is cool. The autograph is off. There's like the very top of the autograph. I don't know how it got. I think it got a 10 on the auto, but it's not great. Anyway, still, despite what I think about that trade, look at how happy that made him, and that's what we should be focusing on. Are people enjoying the hobby? Are they buying, trading, collecting the cards that they want? Is it making them happy? And it is. It's clearly, look at his face. Look how happy he is to have one of his Grail cards. And he says he's going to put it in his vault for a long time. I woke up this morning and he actually had posted, Sports Card Investor had posted a longer video about the trade, and he apparently had been seeing the comments. The comments on his trade went almost exclusively. There were a handful of people who were happy for him and thought he made a good deal, but almost exclusively they thought he was an idiot for making that trade. And so he posted a longer video last night, and in it he talks to those people and me initially, saying, you may be wondering why I traded all this iconic vintage for a modern Steph Curry. And he defends himself, and I get it, I guess. I mean, the longer video to me looks even worse now because he threw in $30,000 or $31,000 in addition to the cards. So it's bonkers to me that at the peak of Steph Curry's value, he's just won a championship less than a year ago. He had another amazing season this year, although the team didn't. But the value, the guy who bought the card initially only paid $111,000 for it, and Geoff's giving him $131,000 in value for it, including iconic vintage. And to me, it's crazy that he would buy at virtually the peak. I don't know where that card was a year or two ago, but you wait a year or 2 or 3 years, and Geoff even talked about there was a lot of risk behind this, that the Golden State Warriors could blow the team up and retool, rebuild, and Steph's getting older. But in 3, 4, 5 years, this card is going to be worth way less. Now, in 10 years, when he's in the Hall of Fame, it'll be worth more, of course, but maybe not more than it is now. So I watched the video this morning thinking maybe it would look better now that he has a longer video. It ended up looking worse. But again, look at his face. Look at how happy he is to have that card. And I just can't fault the guy. I can't be part of the army that says, and I mean, I am. I think that I would never make that trade myself, but it's his money. It's his cards. I can't fault him. So I want to know what you think. I believe you probably wouldn't have made this trade, but when you think about it from a collector's standpoint, and I know most people think he's not a collector, and I don't think he has a collector's heart where he's just going to hang on to this card forever, but he did say he's going to put it in his vault for a long, long time. So I think that's collecting. It's just collecting differently than the way I do, which is buying a card and never thinking about value, and then eventually, I don't know what's going to happen with my collection. Of course, I think about value. I do think about value, but I don't think about, oh, I'm going to sell this in 10 or 15 years when the value peaks. I'm just not interested in that. But that is a good segue into selling, and I hope I will have a selling video coming up soon. I am starting to sell, and I'm not going to become a dealer, although I am going to be dealing. You'll see in a video I post in a couple of days, I went to Don's Sports Card Center in Portland, and I bought a bunch of iconic vintage. I'm going to start up a Whatnot stream where I'm selling cards. I'm going to start with that. I'm going to have a big giveaway, I think pretty big giveaway. One of the biggest giveaways I've had, if not the biggest. And so coming up in the next couple of days, I'll post that video, and the Whatnot stream will be at some point, I think it's next Tuesday, so a week from tomorrow. And I'm going to start selling off those cards that I bought at Don's Sports Card Center, and then I'm going to start selling my own. So I want to start with gathering an audience for this, and then start selling a bunch of my own cards that no longer fit in my personal collection. I have focused my collection, and I have a bunch of stuff that no longer really fit, and I would like to sell so I can fund buying things that I really love at the National. So I'm going to do a bunch of live streams on Whatnot ahead of the National, and I hope you tune in, and I appreciate it. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Let me know in comments what you think about the trade Geoff made.